everyone, Mr. Octagonal here from Octagonal Gaming. Now, I just want to talk about the Detroit Lions draft class this past draft, which was last week. I'm going to assess it. I gave them a B plus for my grade. However, the research I've done, no one's given them higher than a B. So I'm the highest grade I've seen for the Lions. Which I don't know. Maybe that's not a good sign. So our draft class was linebacker Jarrad Davis from Florida, cornerback Teez Tabor from Florida, wide receiver Kenny Golladay from Northern Illinois, linebacker Jalen Reeves-Maybin from Tennessee, tight end Michael Roberts from Toledo, Jamal Agnew, the corner from San Diego, right? Yeah, San Diego. Jeremiah Ledbetter, a defensive lineman from Arkansas, quarterback Brad Kaya from Miami, and defensive end Pat O'Connor from Eastern Michigan. So I'm going to be going with talking about each prospect. I'm going to do longer ones for the earlier prospects because I know more about them. So let's do it. With our first pick overall, 21st overall, we selected Jarrad Davis, the linebacker from Florida. He can play inside, he can play outside. He's great physical skills, no character concerns. He seems like a leader. He does have a bit of an injury concern, which does kind of stink. So, how do I like this pick? Now, first of all, Reuben Foster was on the board at the same position. Jarrad Davis is more of an inside linebacker. So they're both inside linebackers. Reuben Foster is definitely a top 10 and arguably top 5 prospect. So we could take him here at 21, but we decided to take Davis, which I don't hate the move. I really don't. A lot of people are hating on it because Reuben Foster is on the board. Unless Reuben Foster becomes a star, then I don't see this being a bad pick. Jarrad Davis is going to start immediately for us as DeAndre Levy just retired, and our only serviceable linebacker is Tahir Whitehead, who I really like. I think he had a very underrated year last year and was one of the best players on our defense. We signed veteran linebacker Paul Worrilow, so we have 3 players who can play inside linebacker. Now, I know Tahir Whitehead's going to move to one of the outside spots. However, I don't know if Paul Worrilow would, because it sounds like Jarrad Davis is going to be the starting middle linebacker week 1, which I like. I think with our spot where we are now, he kind of needs to start because our linebackers minus Tahir Whitehead aren't that good. So in the second round, we took another Gator, and then we took Teez Tabor. So it's pretty cool that our first 2 picks were teammates and they played on the same side of the ball, which is pretty neat. But what I really wanted going into this offseason was a corner. Darius Slay's a beast. I really like Darius Slay. However, Nevin Lawson, I don't think is our franchise number 2 corner. But maybe Teez Tabor is. Teez Tabor, minus his speed, is a first-round prospect, in my opinion. I think I really like Teez Tabor. I think he's a really good player. I think he had a great career at Florida. And that Florida defense had many NFL prospects. So, defensive backs. The past 2 years, they've had Teez Tabor, Quincy Wilson, who was also a second-round pick this year to the Colts at corner. Vernon Hargreaves III, a first-round pick last year to Tampa Bay. Safeties, Keanu Neal, who, if y'all don't know, is one of my favorite players in the league. Went to the Falcons last year in the first round. Safety, Marcus May, who was drafted in this year's second round by the New York Jets. Linebacker, obviously, Jarrad Davis. Alex Anzalone. I feel like for secondary was their best part. Who else do they have? Caleb Brantley, but yeah, he's obviously no longer a second-round prospect. He was, but now he's not. And, yeah, so why Teez Tabor fell to us, he looked like he ran with a piano on his back. Corners should be running, super fast ones should be running in the 4.3s and 4.2s. 4.4s is fine. 4.5s is a little slow. After that, no. 4.4s is what corners should be aiming for, in my opinion. No, not 4.40s, but somewhere in the 4.4s. Anywhere from 4.40 to 4.50 isn't terrible. It could be better. You'd obviously want him to have super speed. And would I trade his speed with a cornerback, Jamal Agnew, who we also drafted? Maybe. Jamal Agnew ran a 4.34. Tabor did not. However, Tabor would not have fallen to our laps if he ran a 4.34, which is why I'm a little about it. But now, after the draft, if they could switch speeds, sorry, Jamal Agnew, I'd say yes. In the third round, we took wide receiver Kenny Golladay from Northern Illinois. We actually traded down to get Kenny Golladay. I believe we traded down with the Patriots, I want to say. Bob Quinn, former Patriot GM, he drafted Tom Brady. Brad Kaya is the next top. I'll talk about Brad Kaya later. But Kenny Golladay, this pitch seems like a reach. If I don't know who you are, you're probably a reach. Because when I did my mock draft, I looked off the CBS big board, the CBS Sports big board. And I don't remember seeing his name anywhere. He was not in my mock draft in the first 4 rounds, so obviously he might not be a 4th round prospect. And we're taking him in the 3rd round? I don't know. 3rd round might be a little high. But let's talk about the good things about Kenny Golladay. He's 6'4", 216 pounds, so he's a big receiver. He's not going to make us forget Calvin Johnson, but he's still a big receiver. He's a good red zone target for Stafford. Because Golden Tate and Marvin Jones are 6'5". They're 2 really good receivers who I really like, but they're not 6'5". I don't think we have Anquan Bolden, so we kind of could use another receiver. And our number 3 receiver could be Kenny Golladay. It seems like he ran a good 40 time for his size, and it doesn't seem like that bad of a pick. However, I think we could have gotten a better receiver. There's still some good receivers still on the board. I just can't think of any off the top of my head who went in the 4th round. But what I think we should have done is took Carl Lawson, defensive end from Auburn. Carl Lawson was a 2nd round prospect. He slipped to the 4th round. He was available here, and we need defensive linemen. We do have 2 good defensive ends. However, maybe we could slip Kerry Hyder to the defensive tackle spot. I'm going to be talking about more of a defensive line later with our defensive linemen. So, those were our day 1 and 2 picks. So now let's get into our day 3 picks. In the 4th round, we started off with linebacker Jalen Reeves-Maybin from Tennessee. Now, I know who Jalen Reeves-Maybin is before we drafted him, so yeah, I think that's a good sign. He does have injury concerns. However, it seems like a great pick. I agree, as well as a lot of research I've done. It seems like that's a great pick. We need linebackers, as I was talking about with Jarrad Davis, so this one's probably not going to be as long because we already drafted a linebacker in Jarrad Davis. We have Tahir Whitehead. We are a 4-3, I believe. So we need 3 linebackers. And if Jalen Reeves-Maybin can develop into a starter, we're going to have Jarrad Davis, if he develops into a pretty good player, Tahir Whitehead, and Jalen Reeves-Maybin. That doesn't seem too good, but Davis and Reeves-Maybin have not played in the NFL yet. So we'll see. With our next pick, we took tight end Michael Roberts from Toledo. Now, we took Eric Ebron in the 1st round a few years ago, back in 2014. And at the time, I was not happy with the pick. I was upset. And I don't think Eric Ebron's been bad. However, he hasn't been great. The thing that I'm really on is the players we could have gotten. Let me just say, to start off, we could have gotten Odell Beckham, Aaron Donald, we could have got Zach Martin, Ryan Shazier, CJ Mosley, Clinton Dix, Taylor Lewan. The list goes on and on. Jarvis Landry, Allen Robinson, Devontae Freeman. Yeah, you guys get the point now. There's probably a bunch of other great players who we could have selected who have been better than Eric Ebron. However, I don't think Ebron's been terrible. I want to keep developing him. I want him to get a lot of good chances next year. And he's going to start over this guy unless he has a great, absolute, sensational training camp in preseason that Ebron doesn't. So I don't think this is a bad pick. If Ebron gets injured, oh, jeez. Yeah, our tight end, it's not going to be good. It's not going to look pretty. That's what I'm trying to say. So, this is a good pick. I think this will benefit our tight end depth. So, let's go to our next pick. With our next pick, we selected Jamal Agnew, a cornerback from San Diego. I've never heard of this San Diego college. It's not San Diego State, it's just San Diego, which is a bit different. I know they have one for San Francisco, because that's where Bill Russell went. I doubt they have a Los Angeles college. They have UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. So, all I know is with Agnew, either he's a steal or all he has is speed. He ran a 4.34 40-yard dash, so it's definitely one of those. He's a steal or he has speed and he probably is not good in coverage. Or just not a good actual corner, and he's just fast. So that's my simple analysis of Agnew. Hopefully he can become something on this team with 4.34 speed. Maybe he should do something in the special teams. So let's go to our next pick. Other than the Titans' last pick, which is a 5'7" running back from I have no idea where, his name was like Khalafani Muhammad or something. This guy might have the next best name. Jeremiah Ledbetter. Sounds a lot like Bedwetter. He might probably got made fun of in school. Anyway, so took us 6 rounds to draft a defensive lineman. Now, I don't think defensive line was our biggest need compared to what other people say, because we have Ziggy Ansah, we had undrafted free agent Kerry Hyder last year who had a great year, and in the second round we drafted A'Shawn Robinson last year. So defensive line isn't the biggest need. We could use help there, but I'd rather just draft a pass rushing linebacker maybe. Or maybe we could move Kerry Hyder to defensive tackle, get another end. That wouldn't be bad on like the third round, like Carl Lawson and him. So, Ledbetter, if he becomes anything solid in the NFL, it's a good pick. It will be a good pick. I really don't know much about Ledbetter. So, yeah, 2 more picks. Let me just say, shout out to the kid who was like, "What's up, Lions Nation?" Yeah, the kid who announced Brad Kaya's name. That kid is a beast. But anyway, Brad Kaya was our next pick. Now, at the beginning of the season, Kaya was supposed to be like a top 3 quarterback in the draft, maybe even a top 3 pick. It was him, Watson, and someone else who was real high. I forget who else it was, but I think it may have been Kaiser, because early in the year, that's when Kaiser became like known. That was before Trubisky and Mahomes were known, but I think Kaiser became a high prospect before both of them. It was Watson, Kaiser, and Kaya. Watson was a first-round pick. Kaiser was a second-round pick. Kaya was a sixth-round pick. Now, Bob Quinn, our GM, he knows how to draft sixth-round quarterback steals. He, I believe, was a scout on the Patriots team that drafted Tom Brady. Tom Brady. If he develops into a Tom Brady, I'm not going to be mad. Do I love Matthew Stafford? Yes. But maybe Matthew Stafford is our Drew Bledsoe. Matthew Stafford has had a lot of injury concerns, like early in his career. Lately, not as much. But early in his career, he kept getting hurt. And I've been wanting a good backup for a while. We had Shaun Hill then. Shaun Hill. Is Shaun Hill still in the league? I know he played for the Vikings last. I don't know if he's still in the league or not. But I've been wanting a quality backup quarterback. Last year, we got Jake Rudock in the 6th round. But I think Kaya's better than Rudock. Kaya was supposed to be like a 4th-round pick, maybe even 3rd-round pick. He slipped in the 6th round. We took advantage. I believe Rudock and Stafford are only quarterbacks on the roster. I believe we lost Dan Orlovsky this offseason, but I don't think Dan Orlovsky is a super backup either. So I really like this pick. It is Stafford's last year of his contract, however. We're going to keep Stafford. I'm not worried about that. So I highly doubt Kaya's ever going to start in this league. However, remember, Bob Quinn was on that Patriots team that drafted Tom Brady, so maybe. With our last pick in this year's draft, we selected Pat O'Connor, who is a defensive end from Eastern Michigan. Now, I don't know much about O'Connor, but we could use some defensive linemen, so this is a pretty solid pick. So I'm not really going to explain more because I don't know, other than the fact that Eastern Michigan is very close to Detroit, because Detroit is a city in Eastern Michigan. So I hope you all enjoyed. Peace.